Hey guys, let's get more news from Dallas Cowboys, but first don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your like. Julian Edelman teases rumor of Bill Belichick's next team. After building an unprecedented dynasty with the New England Patriots, Bill Belichick is ready to move to his next NFL stop. Where that is remains yet to be seen. With several swirling rumors as to where the legendary coach will end up next, one of his former stars, Super Bowl 53 MVP Julian Edelman, played into the speculation. The longtime Patriots receiver appeared on the Let's Go podcast with former teammates Tom Brady and Randy Moss, teasing the Dallas Cowboys as a possible destination for Belichick. "Did I just hear you say Belichick's going to the Cowboys?" Edelman joked. Edelman did provide context into what Belichick can still add to a team, even at this point in his career, whether that ends up being with Dallas or another capable franchise. "It's going to be interesting," Edelman assessed. "I love Coach Belichick. I wouldn't be here in my little room doing podcasts talking to two of the greatest football players to ever play the game if it wasn't for Coach Belichick giving me an opportunity. I was a guy who flourished off of tough love. I needed that, so it was like the perfect place for me." "Yeah, he was tough. He made you better. He coached everyone a little different. He felt certain people needed certain things to make them play better." Edelman added, "You never felt there was a game you were out-prepared, never." Wherever Belichick lands in his next coaching chapter, Edelman knows his former Patriots coach can still get it done as he chases Don Shula's coaching record for wins. "I love Coach," Edelman shared. "I wish him the best. I hope he gets the record." With one interview already completed, Belichick continues his discussions in search of a new NFL home. After further review, defense non-existent, offense had nowhere to go in Cowboys' playoff loss. The season is over for the Dallas Cowboys as they finished with a 48-32 loss at the hands of the Green Bay Packers. There wasn't a whole lot to be happy about in this one, but plenty to scratch our heads about. The offense was bad, the defense was worse, and the special teams made their share of mistakes. Let's take a look at what we can learn after rewatching the game film. It wasn't just that the Cowboys' defense couldn't stop the Packers' rushing attack, but rather just how easy it was for Green Bay to run the ball. Far too often, there were wide-open lanes to run through. The Packers did a good job moving guys around and getting would-be tacklers going in the wrong direction. They got to the second level and sealed off defenders. They put on a blocking clinic while the Cowboys' defenders looked completely helpless. The Packers' running game might been even more damaging if it wasn't for how easy it was for them to pass the ball. Jordan Love only attempted 21 passes on the day, but he made them count. The Cowboys weren't able to apply enough pressure, and when they did get a little, Love would just stutter step himself into space and throw off his back foot. He looked a lot like the guy who previously took the snap behind center for the Packers, and that is not a comforting feeling for Cowboys fans. The Packers knew exactly how much time he had and planned accordingly. These slower developing plays caused the Cowboys secondary to fall asleep and left the Packers receivers wide open. The Cowboys weren't too terrible with penalties, so this isn't as damaging as it's been in the past, but the type of penalties is still bothersome. It feels like every game they jump off sides. Their most savvy veteran defender, DeMarcus Lawrence, just couldn't help himself. The penalty only cost them a couple of yards, but it changed the Packers' play-calling options on third down and allowed them to lean on Aaron Jones. Another one that will get filed in the "does it really matter" box is a second-quarter sack taken by Dak Prescott. The Cowboys desperately needed 7 points on this drive after falling behind 14-0. If Prescott just tosses the ball away, Mike McCarthy likely goes for it on fourth down as they are in that gray area of the field. Keeping that drive alive could have changed the complexity of the game script. Or, he could have chosen to kick a field goal there. A sack, however, forced the punting team to come on. The Cowboys' special teams group has done some great things this season, no question about that. Blocked punts and near-perfect kicking have been part of their arsenal this season. But this group can also make mistakes. Sam Williams, who was flagged for roughing the punter earlier in the season, got called for catch interference because he just couldn't keep his distance from Packers returner Jayden Reed. There were all kinds of problems with the Cowboys' offense on Sunday. The Packers' defense was sitting on plays just waiting to strike. It didn't seem like there were many great options for Prescott early, and at times, he made poor decisions and threw into coverage. There is a shared blame between the play calling and Prescott as they weren't able to find the holes in the Packers' defense. And this one sequence is the epitome of the Cowboys' offense on Sunday. Cowboys urged to cut ties with $57.5 million, poor investment. It is expected that things will get ugly for the Dallas Cowboys as their offseason settles in. Another 12-5 record and yet another shocking playoff flop will do that to a team. Mike McCarthy and the coaching staff should be in for a rough few weeks. Cowboys owner Jerry Jones and the front office should be in for a rough few weeks. And the team's accountants should be in for a rough few months, meaning that some of the team's higher-ticket players on the Cowboys roster, namely wide receiver Michael Gallup, will be in for a rough time, too. Gallup was emblematic of all that went wrong for the Cowboys this season. He was a major disappointment during the season, with 34 catches and just 418 yards, the fewest of his career. He posted shiny numbers in the Cowboys' wild-card loss to the Packers, 6 catches and 103 yards, but did not make a catch until the Packers were down 20-0, and he had only 2 first-half catches for 25 yards. Now, with the Cowboys facing a massive payroll crunch, Gallup could be on the firing line. That's the sentiment from Bleacher Report this week, which tabbed the Cowboys players most likely to be cap casualties and put Gallup at the top of the list. Here's how Chris Knox of B.R. sees the situation for the Cowboys, who are already $16 million over the salary cap, per overtheCap.com, heading into the offseason and will need to be conscious of every dollar. Wide receiver Michael Gallup has struggled to meet expectations since the Dallas Cowboys signed him to a 5-year, $57.5 million extension in 2022. While he's still capable of making the occasional big play, Gallup clearly ceded the number 2 receiver role to Brandon Cooks this season. Jerry Jones rarely admits to poor investments, but it's time to either restructure Gallup's deal or pull the plug entirely. Releasing him with a post-June 1 designation would save $9.5 million in cap space while triggering a dead cap hit of only $4.4 million, Knox wrote in the January 16 story. While the Cowboys have one of the top wideouts in the league in star CeeDee Lamb, they've struggled to find a player who fits the bill as a second option. Cooks is solid, but he is 30 years old and better suited to occupy a number 3 role. Gallup has the speed and downfield ability to be a number 2, which is why they got rid of Amari Cooper, who topped 1,100 yards each of the past 2 seasons, but Gallup has yet to translate his ability into production. The Cowboys do not have the luxury of letting Gallup get away with underachieving anymore. They can't afford mistakes like letting Cooper walk, nor can they wait on draft picks such as 2022 third-rounder Jalen Tolbert. That's because for the Cowboys, a lot of the free lunches they've had in the last couple of years are not going to be free anymore. Dallas needs to pay Dak Prescott, who, despite leading the playoff disaster we just saw, could still get the richest contract in NFL history this offseason. His backloaded contract hits $59.5 million next season, and that needs to be reworked into a long-term deal. The Cowboys also need to make Micah Parsons and Lamb among the highest-paid players at their positions. Because they're on their rookie deals, Parsons and Lamb were on the roster for a combined $9 million last year. That will change now that the Cowboys have to dole out extensions. Dallas will need to tighten its belt elsewhere. And Gallup is the top candidate. And you fan, what do you think of the Gallup situation? Leave your opinion in the comments.